WWF, collision or hit. I, Tony Schiavone, with Jim Ross and with Montel Vertadius Porter. And today on Collision or Hit, we have Father Yule here today on Collision or Hit, or Grandfather Cole. And we do know it's Yule time, and that's why Father Yule is here today on Collision or Hit. And we also have a good match, here today on Collision or Hit as well, Tony Schiavone says. And we do know what happened yesterday between Miko Sanatini, if I'm saying his kin name right, and Xavier Woods and Kofi Keaston yesterday on Rampage or Ramfru. Yes, we did, Tony Schiavone. Yeah, we did, Tony. We saw that, Jim Ross says. We saw Xavier Woods and Kofi Keaston shift heel, shame and guilt and scathe Santa Father Yule. We saw Miko Sanatini, stand up for Father Yule. We saw the staff match we saw yesterday on Rampage or Ramfru. I'll tell you right now, Tony and Mike. I'll tell you right now, Tony and Jim. Father Yule, Grandfather Cold, whatever you want to call him, he's lucky. But he's not going to have Miko Sanatini be watching his back through the whole rest of this month. We can tell you that right now. Because Miko ain't above the law. Get it? Because the family was called Above the Law, or Miko Above the Law. Montel Vertadius Porter says. Yeah, we get it, Tony Schiavone says. We truly understand, all the things that are going on. And now we gotta listen up, to Father Yule now. Tony Schiavone says, Montel, ho, 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 and happy Yule. But also, happy gathering of followership, happy gathering of lights. 3 holy days that happened in the 12th month. Now, there's been a lot of folks scathing me and guilting me and shaming me over a lot of things over the years. They're like, why do you gotta go in the houses to put the gifts underneath the Yule tree? Well, how am I gonna get in the house to put the gifts out? If I can't go through the lead door, and I can't go down the smokestack through the fire stead, then how am I gonna do it? They're like, oh, well, you got might. Yeah. What might do I have? The only might that I have is the only might that God and Jesus gave me, was to help my reindeer pull my sleigh. Alright? And maybe somehow get back up through the fire stead, through the smokestack. But that's mostly it. And you're going to tell me that knowing when someone's awake and someone's asleep, if they're bad or good, if that's some kind of might, that's insight that God and Jesus share with me. Alright? Now, another thing that folks also guilt me and shame me and scare me for is that whole, when children are awake and when they're asleep, when they've been bad or good. That's all I know. And one of the worstest things that someone either guilted me or shamed me or scathed me for was taking Yule away from Jesus. And that's a sad one. Because on the top of all those other ones that I just talked about, that one aches the most. Because I do this. I give gifts on Yule to folks to onlook the birth of Jesus. Everything I do is to give love and onlook and worship to Jesus. Jesus has done a lot more things that I've ever done. Jesus healed the sick, the wounded, and the handicapped. Jesus brought the dead back. Jesus also taught folks how to love and forgive and be more kinder to folks. And Jesus yielded his life up for sin. So I show love and kindness, and I give the same way that Jesus gave when he was alive. So I did not take Yule away from Jesus. So I don't know where folks got that from. I truly don't know, I truly don't know where folks got that one from. And that is truly sad, you know. You know, that is truly sad. That someone would think that I stole Yule from Jesus, and I did not. So whoever said that, well then now, sorry for that cough there. Well now someone's owing me a forgiveness for that one. You know. And someone is going to be giving me a forgiveness for that one. So whoever came up, whoever, guilted me or shamed me and said I took you away from Jesus, now there someone needs to say they're sorry for that one. Because shit, I never did. You know? So shit. So, fuck. Yeah, so I never did, alright? So yeah, I never took, I never took you from Jesus. But that's mostly it. That's mostly it for the scathing. That's it for the scathing. That's it for any shaming, that I had to go through. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think you're leaving out, other things. I think you're leaving out the other things that folks say are, the folks say you're guilty of. And what would that be, Ethan? Well, you just mentioned the big one. Someone saying that, yeah, you're going to bring up all the things that folks say that folks seek to guilt me for. You say, or shame me for. Yeah, I believe so. Now we're not leaving out the other thing that folks like to guilt you for. Hey, Grinch, Ethan Grinch, that's enough. See, I'm thankful that they couldn't see Skeletor, because if they did, he would be here all over this shit. But I'm going to tell you what, right now, I'm going to fight you. Oh, that's right, He-Man. You're going to fight me. The stretchable He-Man that got from Big Lots back in 2023, or was that, yeah, and you're going to fight me. Well, you came from Big Lots too, Ethan Grinch. So don't scathe me from coming from Big Lots when you came from Big Lots too. Yeah, but unlike you, He-Man, I'm a bad one. Alright, I could see that you're starting. You see, you did. Guess what you did? You started shit again, Ethan Grinch. So what we're going to do is, here today, we're going to see He-Man fight Ethan Grinch here today on Collision or Hit. Now bring down a match now! Well, we can see Tony Schiavone says that He-Man's going to be fighting Ethan Grinch here today on Collision or Hit. Both men came from Big Lots. He-Man came from Big Lots, I think, last year. and even Grinch came in big lots last month. So both of them came from big lots. And he's got something to say, doesn't he? Don't he? And while he's singing his song, He-Man's beating him up, Tony Schiavone says. A saga of body slams. Yeah, Jim Ross says, the first time we ever had a wrestler or fighter be skipping and stepping and singing while getting beat up here. You know. Well, Montel Rotadius Porter says Ethan Grinch always has the skill. You know. He can skip, he can step. He can have a song playing while he's getting beat up. But Ethan Grinch right now, you know, shifts all the way. Oh! You like this, Montel Rotadius Porter says. Now we're going to listen to his song while he's beating up He-Man. A body slam. I like this, Montel Rotadius Porter says. I like how he's beating up He-Man while the song's playing, Montel Rotadius Porter says. Is that right? Tony Schiavone says. Are we going to get in a bind or double right now over that double ownership and double right to that song now? Because it's played like 2 times in this film, Tony Schiavone says. I hope not, Jim Ross said, and if we do, we can guilt it on Ethan Grinch because he had to play the song 2 times, Jim Ross says. Ethan Grinch right now, down on He-Man. Ethan Grinch taking out a Hanna-Barbera self, which He-Man is, Jim Ross says. Yeah, that's right, Tony Schiavone said. The first He-Man drawing show was made by Hanna-Barbera Glee. Tony Schiavone says. And Ethan Grinch believes he's got the upper hand. He-Man, knocked down. Ethan Grinch. Here it comes now. The He-Man running with Might Slam. This one is over. Tony Schiavone says. He-Man's going to beat Ethan Grinch, Tony Schiavone says. The Fight Lord has to reckon 1, 2, 3 on him, Jim Ross says. But it was a good match. He-Man will beat Ethan Grinch. Come on, Ethan Grinch. You gotta beat He-Man. You can't lose to a Hanna-Barbera, you know, Warner News self. Montel Rotadius Porter says, 1, 2, 3. Ding, ding, ding. Here is your winner, He-Man. Well, He-Man has beat Ethan Grinch here today on Collision or Hit. And Ethan Grinch is still being a creep. Or a heel, Tony Schiavone says, and he almost, beat, He-Man. But luckily, He-Man got the upper hand, Tony Schiavone says, here today on Collision or Hit. And we can't forget Jim Ross said he played the song 2 times. Are we going to get in a bind of ownership and double right to that song that was playing 2 times in that match when Ethan Grinch was fighting He-Man? Jim Ross says. I don't think so, Montel Rotadius Porter says. We would have gotten a bind of ownership and double right to that song if they played the first time we did it. But He-Man needs to be ashamed of himself and guilty for beating on Ethan Grinch, who did nothing more than come out and guilt and shame and scathe Father Yule, Grandfather Cold, for all the things the world guilts and shames him for anyway. Montel Rotadius Porter says. Anyway, we're going to take it you know what? You're being like Ethan Grinch, Tony Schiavone says. You're being like Ebenezer Scrooge, not seeing any good in anything, not seeing any good in any holy days. That's kind of sad, Tony Schiavone says. Yeah, it is, Jim Ross says. It's kind of sad that Montel Rotadius Porter, you want to take Ethan Grinch's side and think it was right for the scathing of Father Yule or Grandfather Cold. All right, take it away, Michael Cole. Thank you, Tony Schiavone and Montel Rotadius Porter. Thank you, Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross. I'm going to be talking with He-Man here today on Collision or Hit. He-Man, we haven't seen you in some time. Well, you know me, been around and about, Michael Cole. Well, I seen you had a match with Ethan Grinch here today on Collision or Hit. Yeah, I did. You know, I've been fighting Skeletor, that follower of the 401 Bonds of Evil, for years. And he's somewhere in this room. But then I couldn't stand by and watch Ethan Grinch shame Father Yule or Grandfather Cole for things that he didn't do. Alright? So yeah, I beat him. And if Ethan Grinch wants to make something more out of it, well, I can always have another match with him. Well, he did guilt you. He did shame you from coming from Big Lots, He-Man. But you did come from Big Lots last year. Yeah, last year, Michael, I came to the toy wrestling gathering from Big Lots. Ethan Grinch came from Big Lots last month. So he had no right to be guilting me from coming from Big Lots when he came from Big Lots himself. Anyway, I just want to wish everyone a happy Yule, a happy gathering of lights, a happy gathering of followership. And if Ethan Grinch wants to have another match with me, I'll beat him like I did before. Alright, everyone, that's my talk with He-Man. Back to you, Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross. Well, thank you, Michael Cole, for talking with He-Man here today on Collision or Hit. Here today, yeah. And that's all the time we got here. I, Tony Schiavone, with Jim Ross and Montel Vertadius Porter. We hope you like Collision or Hit. And we'll see you tomorrow for Monday Night Raw or Moon Day Night Raw.